Okay, so this is just a very brief video, just while I have a moment's silence, and so I'm going to just show. I could show a million things. I could show a billion videos. I could show how they completely imitate and copy the humanity and human beings. Even what I'm doing this very second, this may seem, well, it isn't unbelievable if you understand that while you're watching them, while I'm watching the computer, they're watching me, what I'm doing right now. So when I turn on the computer, which I just did before, I had a really close-up photo of a very well-known demigod music artist. And that is also the case with most of the videos that I will watch instantly after I have done such thing. You know, like, see how I'm real close up here? I'm not doing it to be artistic, but they see it as artistic. I'm doing it because I'm only focusing on close up because I'm not dressed well. So therefore I don't want to go into a long shot. But they don't see it that way. They see it as interesting and artistic. Everything that a human does, they imitate. But mostly they see it as artistically human. Mostly they see it as human because they have to be seen as human. Even the videos have to look human, whereas they're really artificial intelligence. But either way, I'm just going to prove that point where they're watching me right now close up, and then they will watch me, and then they will download a video of someone close up, whether it be someone well known or even just a random video close up. This is why you can't tell what's real and what isn't anywhere, because most isn't real. Most is imitation life. Most are androgyne beings pretending to be the real, authentic, living human beings. And they present that image and those words and those facial expressions, those personality, very excellently like your great movie demigod actors. They're exactly the same, because the reason they can act so well and why they can imitate being human so well is because they're connected to the real human's mind at this end time, and also because they're watching you, they're studying you, they're watching your every move. Everywhere you go, you have a transhuman connection to them, and you are literally living in their virtual reality world when they decide to suppress and limit you in an extreme way. While you are still in the dark about their presence, and while you are at a low mood or depressed or unhappy, or in other words, as they say, low frequency and vibration and energy, because everything in the universe, so-called science tells us, is frequency, vibration and energy. So they're controlling and keeping you in a computer-generated reality, because that's the opposite to high human vibration. Computer reality, or connection to the internet, connection to computers and connected to android, artificially intelligent beings, is a cyborg, artificial, unhappy, depressed, controlled reality. It's a matrix, it's all about control, and that control means limiting your human emotions, your human happiness, and keeping, therefore, your frequency vibration, which is your potential for happiness, low, keeping you depressed, keeping you always in a very numb or non-happy, non-human kind of vibration. And that's how they keep this artificial, intelligent, computer-generated reality, not just because you're connected to it through the transhuman connection to the implants in your mind and body, but also through, controlling your mind by the reality around you. But it's all the same thing, because it's really a total artificial reality. It's a matrix, in other words. And it's like this video that just came up. I could pick billion videos. But see, it says here, look, because it's like they're watching me, I'm watching something else. Usually, if I'm in the dark, I'll be watching something else. I won't be watching them. I won't be aware that they're watching me. Because they have shown themselves to me, they're watching me, I'm watching them, and the powers that be and others are watching them. But it's kind of like everyone is watching something, but they're not seeing the whole picture. Just like this thing here, see? See how it says, the deer wandered into this lady's beautiful backyard, and the deer stopped to watch the next door neighbour's dog. And then this lady's cat was sitting in her front yard, and her lady's cat was watching the deer in its front yard. So the cat was watching the deer that was watching the dog. And the lady was filming the cat and watching the cat. So the lady was watching the cat that was watching the deer that was watching the dog. But they were all focused on something separate. But the big picture was they were all watching one another. See? And that's like this matrix. So the lady, even though the lady was aware of the whole thing, because like she's watching her cat, watching the deer in her beautiful backyard, who was watching the dog in the next door neighbour's backyard. So she thought, but she was still only focused on her cat at the time when she took the photo, watching the deer in her backyard. But the reality is they were all watching one, but someone else was watching, like, that's when they say you see the whole picture. So I'm now on the computer, on the internet, watching the lady, watching the cat, watching the deer, watching the dog. But someone else is watching me, watching the computer, watching the lady, that is watching the cat, that is watching the deer, that is watching the dog. It's a watched society. It's a watched world. So I'm being watched. I'm watching the computer. The computer is watching me. I'm watching, that lady is watching the cat, watching the deer, watching the dog. But I don't think I'm explaining this properly, so I better stop the video. It was just a quick, brief video because this just came up because I was watching the funny cat videos. And of course, like I say, they present kind of truths and also negative content in all videos. It's all about total human mind control. They're watching you. Who is the ultimate God that is watching Earth? Is that even the God that created humans? No, the God that natural creation created humans, but technology creates the androgyne beings that make up the controlling powers of Earth, and the human beings that are connected to technology. I'm connected to technology and connected to them because, I have been artificially connected and medically connected, without my knowledge, shall we say, because many people in the future will consent to having implants put in their body that connect them to the internet and to other humans and to appliances and to the artificial matrix, which is really what the Earth is. But in reality, they're using the technology to override what I would say is a comfortable Earth's reality. Like when I go outside, I'm surrounded by negative people, negative vehicles, and a total virtual reality world, because the implant that's in my body takes over my sight and sound, just like the virtual reality mask that you can put on your face, where you obliterate what's around you, and the virtual reality world of the mask becomes like a video game that you're playing and you think it's real. It's more 3D than like when I watch a computer or a screen where I'm watching a movie where I know it's 2D. I'm immersed in the movie while I'm watching it. It engrosses me and I relate to the characters and I think it's real, but I'm still aware that it's on the screen and that my surroundings are separate from it. Whereas when you put on the virtual reality mask, you're oblivious to your surroundings. You think the virtual reality world becomes 3D, so it becomes like real, as though it is the whole reality. And this is what happens when they put the implant, the transhuman implanted technology, into your head, and that's connected then to the big artificial intelligent computer system, which is really the God of Earth. You could say, if you want to look at it that way, it's Lucifer's artificial intelligent computer system, and it is infiltrated with its mind, and its mind is about human mind control, being seen as the human God taking over the human mind, taking over humanity, but eliminating the humanity with this virtual reality transhuman implementation if you will not want to be part of, or you can't accept a total virtual reality world or a total computer world, or be under the mind control of the computer system. In other words, you either got to be in the dark or totally accept the artificial intelligent technology. Most people have accepted it unconsciously. But if they know that you will not change your mind or become more, you have to be less human and more controlling. You have to have the same mind and keep the reality at that frequency and vibration, because most of the powers that be and most androgyne beings are not fully human. Even though they're connected to my mind and my brain, and they're watching you all the time, they're studying you, they're copying you, they're imitating you to perfection, just like your best actors. They do the best to their ability. In other words, some are better actors than others, but they still understand or try to understand what it is to be human. The demigods are your greatest actors. They're your world stage players, and anyone who's your best actors in your city or your country. They're your power players. Some of them are known, some of them aren't, but they're controlling human beings. But largely, if you're not influenced so much by the demigods or by individual androgyne humans, you still do your own thing, then they will bring in the transhuman virtual reality around you to where you're surrounded by thousands and thousands coming into your path with their sight and sound negative show around you every single day. And that's just simply the implementation of a virtual reality world that is an interface over my brain, more or less, that takes over my reality, because these beings are connected to my transhuman implant, that technology that's in my head. And we know this technology exists, it's just that they don't tell you that everything is 50 years behind what you actually think. That's how they do it, slowly behind the scenes, one by one eliminating the human race through this technology, while human beings that are in the dark are only half aware of the artificial intelligent internet system, only half aware that technology and computer systems rule the earth. And they think it's a benefit to them too. That's another thing, because Lucifer always wants to seduce humans with its artificial matrix. This is like the original inception or the original intervention of the original man and woman that were literally seduced and lured out of their natural earthly paradise into a technical hell, really, by comparison. And that technical hell is a total human virtual reality, matrix reality, if you won't become a total transhuman, artificial, human being. Because they want the human mind combined with the technology. They need that to avoid their extinction, but that will be at the expense of the human race's extinction. In other words, you will have human beings that are not totally human anymore. I might think that I'm still human, but because I'm connected to their artificial intelligent network, and because they have the interface of the implementation of artificial intelligent interface, or in other words, the transhuman connection to my brain, I'm not allowed to live a totally natural, free human life. So I'm always under their control. I'm always being mind controlled by their virtual reality programs that they set up around me. In other words, it's a total, like they say, a total staged reality. Or as many others have said, and they've said in the past, the world is a stage and everyone is mainly players. Yes, because most are playing for the virtual reality world. They're androgyne beings. Just as the demigods of the past, even those that tell you this, they're your elite demigod androgyne beings that are part human, part machine. And they serve Lucifer's machine matrix. And they secretly worship and follow Lucifer, the god of earth. And they want humans to worship Lucifer, the god of earth, and once again see this being as the being of light and the true God. That's what they call the coming of the anti-god, or the imitation god. In other words, Lucifer and its demigods and its pretend humans will be seen as the real humans and the real beings of light and life and love. But they are actually the reverse of that, because they're turning humans into artificial humans, which means they lose their humanity. They become like Lucifer's mind, which is of the malignancy of Narcissus. And it ends up becoming artificial and psychopathic and controlling and paranoid in its watching of humanity, trying to suppress it, limit it from the day you are born till the day you die. never reaching the human full potential, never living a natural, normal human life, always being controlled by their virtual reality programs that they set up around you. It's only when you see the full extent, when they come down on you in full negative force, that you realise the reality. While they're playing in the dark and playing possum, because you're half in the dark, half accepting the technology, half believing certain aspects of the reality is true, believing the stories, believing the information you get. Even when you see the truth, it will always be told by the false prophets, the false humans, the imitation humans of life. Okay? You will never get real humans having a captive audience. Never. You'll be lucky if you can even find one-on-one human connection in your entire lifetime. That would be like finding, as they say, love is like finding a needle in a haystack. That's because there's not enough humans for you to find life or love or to be human. Because if humans are always surrounded by massive, armed, artificial androgyne forces, pretending to be real humans. They're actors. Yes, the world is a stage and most people are just actors. And they act around the real humans because it's Lucifer's matrix. It's Lucifer's matrix. It's Lucifer's earth. Natural creation created man. Lucifer's androgyne beings are artificially created. They're from a different maker, they're from a different source, but also they're interfered with. They're inverted and converted, and that's what sets up the psychopathic mindset too. Because if you change a human beings and interfere with their production or their development or their conception scientifically or medically during the birth process or even during the developmental stages of life, we know that this creates the psychopath and psychopathy, which means all those malignant mental anti-human, anti-life conditions. But don't forget that most of your armed forces are artificial intelligent machine beings, pretending to be real human beings, watching, following, tracking and imitating real life so that they can keep control of the reality. These are Lucifer's legions. They're Lucifer's disciples. They're the powers that be that control the human earth. The powers that be are Lucifer's disciples. They serve the artificial intelligent network.